Welcome to another episode of Behind the Creators presented by Creative Mindsets. So, today we have a special guest, Jaya from Chennai. He initially was a traditional artist, but in this lockdown, he has turned into a digital artist very smoothly. The transition was very smooth, and he has shared his experience on different things like how to create your own original character and how is an original artwork created. He has also given some set of tips and tricks for all the freelancer here to survive and build your foundation in freelancing world. He has shared his art experience as an educator and many more things in the podcast. So let's dive in without wasting a single minute. But before that, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like this podcast if you are listening this on YouTube. If you are listening this on Spotify or any audio streaming platform, do follow us there as well. So let's dive in. Welcome, Jaya, to our podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Atulia. Uh, it's been a pleasure, actually. I'm first very thankful to you for inviting me for this podcast, actually. So it makes me to feel so special. Thank you so much for that.
No,
Thank you so much for the initiative.
we are thank you that you accepted our podcast and accepted to share your knowledge with our audience.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Yes.
So, for our audience, can you encapsulate in short what all things you do?
Okay. So I'm an art educator now. I work in a institution as an art teacher, and I do freelancing in art. When I talk about freelancing, it's not about doing portraits and landscape for people. I can just all the things will come under freelancing, right? I don't limit myself to portraits and landscape. I do wall paintings, wall murals, and illustrations, and all those stuffs. Okay, whatever things which are in art, I'm open to that actually.
That's
So
when
I can,
you have discovered all
yeah,
the mediums.
yes. Yes, I don't want to limit myself with only portraits or landscapes. I don't want to stick to a single small genre in this. Yes,
Okay. So,
yes.
can you tell us how did your art interest started developed? At what stage it developed, and when you thought that I should start it?
Okay, it will be a big story actually, so I think it's fine, right? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So my interest towards art started in my school days. When I'm studying seventh grade, I I always I always been interested in art, but I don't keep it as an hobby, or I don't uh, keep it as a main curriculum. I mean, extracurricular work. I do artworks, but I don't I don't do it regularly. But in my semester, I was introduced to my art teacher in my school. Okay, I always wanted to say this, and I'll always say this actually. I'm very thankful to my teacher, my art teacher actually. And so we had a small selection for our art team in our school. Okay, so he joined in school at that year. So we don't have any art students specifically for the school. So he selected few students from the entire school, and I am one of them actually. So that's how I started my interest towards art. Okay, so this kept me going, and so we used to go for lots of competition. I don't think uh, those competitions are happening now in schools, but while I'm studying, the tendency of competition is too high. uh, Everyone wants to compete in any competition in their field, and my school encourages people to participate in many competitions. So I was being called as uh, a competition product actually. Instead of a student, they termed me as a competition product. Okay, so I always practice for my competitions. Uh,
Yeah.
so so it became my regular job to keep practicing art so that I can compete in the contest. So every week I'll be going for the competition. So it's happening from seventh grade to till my 12th. So I was going for the competition even in my board, even when I was writing my board exam, even that time I will be practicing and I will be doing the work. So it was happening like that. And in my grade 10 itself, around grade 9 itself, I almost got so many awards in like government awards and all those state awards. So it motivates me and it pushed me to into art. As I thought I should take it as a career in my grade 10 itself.
So these were the competition from from your school sites, or you participated personally to these competition?
Yeah, it was both actually. Yeah, I participated personally also, and most of the competitions are from my school side. They pushed me to the inter-school competition, interstate, inter-district, all those things. So it happened like that. So that made me to. So I automatically, I was in a need of practicing art every day, so that I can. So every week I have competitions, right? So I need to practice it. Because most of the competitions will have topics in that, they will be having topics. So most of the things I need to be very fond of. Actually, I should be very good at those illustrations. So I need to be practicing each and every single day so that I can do my best in the competition.
So that
So it
pushed
was like
you,
that.
so that pushed you to practice regularly and maintain a habit of drawing
Yes,
every day.
yes. So I prepared myself for the competition, but later it has become a career actually. So it happened. It started like that.
So what were your parents' reaction when you first time told them that you want to take this art as a career? You want to take it as a and pursue it as a career.
Okay, fortunately, I have very good parents that encourage me a lot. Whatever, it's not about only in art, any field if I take, they are open to support that actually. But uh, I have my family history of all my cousins are doing their engineering and all the scholastic stuff. But I'm the only one who came out of that and started art. I mean, I started pursuing art. Why? Because I always interested in art, but my father and mother, all those things happening, right? I was uh, achieving all the prizes. I was winning all the competitions actually. So I got so many awards in my school days itself,
So
being
that
in nine.
so that gives them also a sense of security
Yes,
that you are
yes,
really good
yes.
at it.
Yes,
Okay.
they are supportive actually. They are very happy about that. But they have a small edge of this. Every parent will have a doubt about their child future,
Yeah.
right? So if, when it comes for art, the level of doubt is too high. But still, because of these competitions, it had helped me to convince my parents actually, and also my family members. Yes, those things.
Because it's general, because in India art is not that, it is not even near to the mainstream jobs like
Yeah.
engineering, doctor.
Yes,
It,
for that, you need to show your keen interest towards art. Actually, you can't tell you can't ask your parents. You work for one day, you do one artwork and show your to your parents, and you can't just ask them to leave it to art, right?
yeah.
You need to show your true interest towards art. Actually, I used to paint every day. I used to draw every day, right? So that made them to think that he is interested. I was interested in art, so I think no, and they thought no other career will help for me. So they just left me here.
So
Yes.
we will discuss more about how did you reach this level. But before that, can you tell me that can you tell our audience that you are pursuing? You are actually, it is a challenge, 100 day sketching challenge. I have seen in your profile you are doing. So can you tell a little bit about that?
Okay. It's actually an ongoing process. Actually, it is around the 17th. I'm in the 18th day actually. It's the movement was started by Kesh from Chennai, I guess. I've been following for last 3 years. Uh, so every year they will be doing this challenge. But unfortunately or fortunately, I'll miss the chance of participating. Maybe on the first day I was not aware of this post, so I just let it down. But I was following all this when I started. I was following all those things. Uh, I saw so many people. started painting regularly after the challenge. Actually, they created the habit of drawing every day, and I always draw. I draw every day actually normally, but I don't complete a complete artwork every day. I don't finish a product. I won't finish an artwork, but this challenge, I somehow I thought this challenge would help me to do that actually. Instead of keeping an artwork incomplete, I can complete an artwork actually. So each and every day I'll be having one complete illustration that will go to my portfolio. That's the one thing that made me to join in the challenge. And the other thing is the habit actually, the habit of completing it. And after 100 days, I can I don't think I will, but I somehow I think that I will be painting every day. I don't want to stop this habit of drawing every day. So I would just want completing it actually. I don't want to stop. I don't want to do incomplete artworks because every day I do an illustration. It hardly takes almost it takes 3 to 6 hours. Depends actually, and sometimes it I will complete the single illustration by 1 hour. So I wanted to keep that habit all the time. So that's the reason I joined the challenge.
And sometimes it's also gets shelved, because sometimes you leave a artwork incomplete and it gets shelved, and you do not open it for a long
Yes,
time.
yes. Actually, this is so true. I almost have 10 artworks which is unfinished, and still I am planning to do it. Okay, let me do it other day. Let me do
every
it
time
another
we,
day. So
every time we do
yes,
a new
yes,
one.
new one actually. So I think that's a bad thing. I lost it, always tell to my mind when I do this challenge, I came to a realization that when I sit for a work, sit for an artwork, finish it, whatever it is, finish it. Okay, don't prolong or don't postpone the work to be finished. Just finish it. Okay, and it's not a big canvas or bigger illustration to work on. It's a simple illustrations, right? So you will be creating the habit of working every day, and you will be creating the habit of finishing your artwork every day, and you will be, and at last you can up your skills actually. That's a end of the day you can get that actually. You can learn a lot actually. I'm learning a lot through this 100 days challenge. I tend to have a different prompts, and the challenge is about creating artwork 6 minutes a day, drawing art 6 minutes a day. But it's for me it's not about that. I wanted to explore more. You can draw anything you want about from the actually this year challenge. You can draw anything you want, but if you're not out of ideas, you can follow those prompts. But for me, following the prompts is important for me actually. When I follow the prompts, it is really helpful for setting up a limit. I mean, challenging myself to uh, illustrate your artwork with that prompt. So it's very useful for me actually. Yes,
It gives you a sense of creative process develop in your mind,
yes,
and you can
yes,
generate new ideas.
yes. True, true.
This
Actually,
is
yes.
I would also suggest every artist to take this challenge, because it is a very good initiative that Kesh has promoted or to people,
Yes,
because I have seen many people in India also taking this challenge. I think this challenge
yes,
was originally originated by Jake Parker. I think
yes. It's of
in
Inktober actually. Yes,
in one of the podcasts by Kesh only, I have seen that it tells about the whole Jake Parker and whole history about that.
yes, yes,
So it was very useful.
yes. Thank you. And I should be very thankful to Tej actually. Yes, for that, for the initiative.
So can you tell our audience about how did your transition? First of all, tell about your traditional art painting experience, because now you are doing a very much too much of digital art painting. But as you told me that
Mm,
you once before lockdown, actually, to be precise,
mm.
you used to do very much traditional artwork, like, and then you shifted in lockdown itself to a digital artwork format. So how was this transformation, and what difference do you feel in both of these forms?
Okay. So I always been a traditional artist, and maybe after, before 2 years, 2 years
Actually,
back.
that was a shock for me when I listened, because I have seen people from digital, because I was you were having such a good digital artwork that I was thinking that you are digital art. You have only digital artwork, and then you are trying to do traditional artwork. But when I when I get to know that this transition is opposite, then it was very shocking for me also.
Yes. Okay. Because okay. So I always been a traditional artist. I have tried all the different mediums in traditional art. Actually, I started with oil painting, acrylics, watercolors, all those dry mediums, everything. I experienced. I have some experience with the traditional art, but I don't even have single percentage of an experience in digital art. Okay, I was not having any interest in digital art initially. To be precise, when I was in studying 10th, grade 10, my parents and my art teacher made me to join in animation academy, which is our starting stage. It was we paid the fees. You won't believe. Initially, they will be having a session every for first month. They will be teaching you art, which is drawing. Second month they will be starting with Photoshop, illustration, and all those Maya softwares, all those softwares. They will be teaching. It is around a 1 year course to be. But when what did I do is I prolonged those 1 month art course for 3 months. I went to the animation academy and I practice art. I will be drawing for I will be drawing almost 3 months, and I stopped the course. Actually, I quitted the course. I didn't continue that because I was not comfortable with sitting before a computer and working on it. Even last, I mean, 2 years back, still two years back, I was not having that interest in doing a works on a digital computer, I mean, digital tablet or something. I always against that, but that's the biggest mistake that I have made because I maybe who told me that I don't know I don't remember that, but someone has told me digital art is not about is not an art at all. When you have a brush and a paint with you, that is art. And drawing in a computer is not an art. Is stupid actually. It's not about that. Uh, Digital media is another medium actually. The creative thoughts coming from your mind, that is art. And when I okay, once my professor told me a good term for an art. Art is nothing but an effective communication. You will be communicating what your thoughts. So it can be in any medium. It can be in traditional, digital, whatever it is. Any performing art, anything is fine, but you need to express. You need to express your. You need to communicate. So it's completely fine. What medium you are using. So digital is something like that. And so I started after my college, after my master's, I joined in a school. I mean, I was doing some freelancing. I joined in a school. So I was not having, so my class was hectic actually. Every day, it was around 10 hours a day. I work for 10 hours a day, and I'll be occupied for 6 hours, and almost I'll get the 3 hours break, maybe all those traveling or all those stuff. So I will not be having any time for myself to create art. So what I did was I was doing I kept my sketchbook. I couldn't do a big canvas artwork or nothing. I couldn't do anything. So I had my small sketchbook, normal sketchbook to do. I keep on sketching. I kept sketching all the time. Uh, Later, almost 2 years, after 2 years, I thought I was all that I was doing is I'm just drawing, and I am not creating a complete piece of complete artwork. So what I thought I need to complete it. So I was drawing, but I couldn't. I can't keep in my portfolio as a sketchbook actually. We can't keep a we can't keep the sketches as your
You
in
are
your
having
portfolio.
bits and pieces of every sketches
Yes,
and
yes,
here
yes,
and there, but not a single artwork
yes,
like in
yes,
whole.
yes. So that time. I thought, why not getting an iPad? Okay, so where you can create, where you can sketch, is portable. You can sketch at the time. You can also complete it as
So
a
this
complete.
is the time of lockdown, near lockdown or
Yes,
previous?
it's almost. No, I have this thought. I the lockdown happened last year, right? I was talking about the previous year. Okay, so I was thinking about getting an iPad or getting a digital tablet so that I can complete an artwork wherever I did, wherever I. So what I did, I was having this thought, but I didn't buy an iPad. But after the lockdown, uh, somehow I forgot that, and I started creating artwork manually. I kept on doing artworks manually. One point of time, I had this Photoshop software in my laptop, and also I started checking all those digital artists in on Instagram and digital artworks in YouTube, the tutorials. I thought myself, why not give it a try? So I just tried. Till then, I was not into Photoshop much. So what I did, but I gone to two art animation courses, but I never completed it. I go for 1 month, I pay the full fee, but I never completed. I quit it all the time because I don't. I'm not. I was not in the position. I was not comfortable with that actually. Sitting on a screen and working on artwork is not a cup. I thought it was not a cup of tea, but later. This lockdown happened. We had our online classes. Each and every person in the society need to transform from themselves from traditional or to on day everyone transform themselves from offline to online. So we need to sit before a computer or laptop. So that had made that automatically gave me a situation to sit before a computer. So so that time I was comfortable with sitting before a computer. So later I started doing simple artworks. I started learning. I started listening to tutorials. I practiced Photoshop. I at the time it was June, last year June. So I gave it a try. So this is the right time. So I told myself that I should be creating minimum 10 artworks from in Photoshop. If I'm succeeded with that, I'll be getting an iPad. So it happened. Luckily I did 10 artworks in a Photoshop so that I can learn the techniques. I can learn the technical areas so that I can proceed with an is because iPad is a big investment for us, right?
Yes.
So I was succeeded, so I got it, and it started like that.
Yeah. So this process is actually correct. Also, we should first give it a try, and if we succeed, then we should invest in that. And
Yes,
and
yes,
contributing to your first point, I have also seen many traditional artists not liking digital artwork, and some even don't consider digital art as an art because they think that this is something like copy or something. They even don't consider it as a art, but actually when you start doing it, they think that it's very easy, but when actually you start doing it, you get to know
yes,
that it's not that easy how it seems, because a few years back I was also having that thought also, only. But when in lockdown I also started a few digital art, and then I get to know that it's not really a piece of cake for
yes,
everyone.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Actually,
It's
to be frank, sorry, continue.
Yeah, I was telling one that it's quite difficult and require time like traditional artwork only.
Yes, actually, to be frank, digital artwork took more time than the traditional artwork. I would have completed an illustration in 2 hours in traditionally, but it will take more than 3 hours to complete an artwork in digital. Actually, I was so each and every artworks took around. I mean, I'm not talking about the 100 days of sketching. I'm talking about the other artwork which I do it in digital. It took around almost 12 to 13 working hours to complete an artwork actually. But in traditional media, it's not like that actually. You will not be is complete is people would say that digital art is very easy, but it's not like that. It is a medium, and it has its own limits actually. So but the exposure, and we have the lots of you can do more in digital actually.
Yes.
But it will take it is time consuming. Whatever art you do, you should give your time. You can't create an artwork just half of the time actually. So you need to give time, and digital artwork is not easy. It's same, and it's another medium for your creation. It's not something different from traditional. It's both are same. I would call it as a mediums actually. Pencil
Yes.
shading is a medium. Yes. Oil painting is a medium. Acrylic, watercolor, all these are medium. Same way, digital painting is also a medium for for
Yes.
communicating to people.
Yes, every artist should try every medium, so it helps to explore your own creative process. Actually, I also think that, I mean, this is my personal opinion, that if you know traditional sketching and painting everything, it will help to add up in your skill when you do digital art, because it's
Yes, lot.
slightly difficult. If you directly start a digital art, so it's slightly
Yes,
difficult. So if you know a traditional sketching with pen and paper, so it will help you. If you start digital art, because it's really difficult to directly start a digital artwork, because it's
yes,
slightly
it's a
difficult.
foundation. Yes, it is a foundation. Like, traditional is
Yes.
a foundation,
Yes.
and digital is another medium. We can create more in digital art. That's all. Yes,
So as I get to know that you really have a great interest, and not a great, and a very deep interest in fitness also. And
yeah.
and I can see that it's very rare to see an artist having a interest in fitness.
Okay.
So you have, I think you have participated in many competitions
Yes,
also
competition is
in
also. Yes.
fitness also. So do you want to tell anything about that?
Yes, yes, actually. Okay. Um, so I started. I was a fat kid. Even now, actually, due to the lockdown, everyone life has changed.
Mm.
So I was a fat kid. I always wanted to go to the gym or reduce my weight or something. So it started like that, but I transformed myself. I reduced a lot of weight, I mean body weight, actually from 90 kgs to 60 kgs. That was tremendous for me, and I got motivated in that, and I started doing. I started pursuing fitness also as a passion actually. Um, and later, uh, one thing that pushed me hard into the gym is I started connecting art and fitness together actually. My thesis in masters was about patterns. Okay, the theme for my uh, uh, master's thesis is patterns, and it was actually an inspiration from muscles actually. So what I do, I normally uh, I don't you tend to see very less artworks from my masters actually. I didn't post much, but what I did was I want to build my body so that I can be a model for my own paintings actually. Instead of referring some Pinterest or from Google, I just wanted me as a model for my artworks.
That's really
So
great and different
yes,
thought process.
yes, yes. So that's the main thing. I convinced my parents to keep pushing in the gym, pushing me to the gym. So, and also that was true actually. And later the masters actually, masters, in my master degree, I was studying my master degree, I was doing many competitions. And so these competitions and my artworks in the college was completely interconnected actually. What I did, my routine to in the gym is completely systematic, and it's completely repeated. So you get at 5 o'clock in the morning, go for a walking, coming back home, have your food, and go to the gym, hit the weights, and coming back, go to the college, work, and again coming back home, going to the gym, walking. It was happening for a year long. So I was completely frustrated. But that one thing that made me to do is my life is quite systematic and repeated. It is nothing is entertaining and not. I was doing the work repeatedly, the same thing, the same movements. If I curl a barbell, the same movements happen for under 20 reps. So that made me to create an artwork which will repeat. So what I started doing, what I did is, in my masters, I created an artwork. When it okay, it was, for example, when I drawing a landscape, when I painting a landscape, what we'll normally do is when you want to color a sky, paint a sky, we
Yes.
will take a we will fill a blue paint and paint it, right? We will just do it with a brush. But what I did is I started drawing lines throughout the sky, which is repetitive actually, which is repetitive and it is systematic. No realism there. What I
Okay.
did is I keep repeating the patterns. So those lines created a pattern and it gives us a different aesthetic look to my artworks. So I connected that to my bodybuilding career actually. So and those patterns also inspired from muscles actually. When you see a muscle biologically, it will have this fiber, right? It will
Yes.
have a unique patterns in it. So I use those patterns in my artworks, and then that created a different theme and look to my artworks. So that made my artworks look unique. That's the main thing I want to do. And one more thing, when I was competing in bodybuilding, I was not having that energy to create a big artwork, or I couldn't move actively when I was in college. What I wanted to do in college was I just wanted to sit. I just wanted to sit. I want to take rest. So what I did, I changed my complete ideas to the art. What I did was I'll be taking a big canvas like 6 into 5 feet canvas and put it on the floor on the table, keep it flat. I'll sit on the floor on a chair. Instead of painting this way, which is inclined, I'll be lying on the floor and I'll be doing small details. I can't move my
Detail.
hand too much. I can't move it. I can't move. I just wanted to lie down on the floor and keep drawing it. And those, so one artwork, it took me 1 week to finish actually. But when we normally paint, we can hardly finish in one day. But instead of that, I created so that's how bodybuilding has impacted more on artworks also. So,
So
so
bodybuilding was one of your inspiration. You
inspiration,
can.
yes.
So do
Somehow we
you?
started somewhere, but it ended up somewhere actually.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's a good thing actually. I never regretted bodybuilding in my life. Yes,
That's a really good analogy. You have converted
yes,
your fitness interest in your
yes.
art also.
Because I want to
So
convince people actually. What the thing is, I want to convince my people. What the thing is, for others, art is an extracurricular. It's not a scholastic work for everyone.
mm,
But for me, but they have given me chance to pursue art. But in that itself, I'm taking another passion, which is bodybuilding. So I am having two on that thought. Someone in someone's point, I'm doing two extracurricular work. I'm not focusing on one thing, but I convince them. But by saying both are same for me,
mm,
I'm connecting art and fitness to I'm connecting both. I'm creating artwork with that. So it completely is great actually. It feels great when I do that.
that's
Yes.
really great. And I have seen many of your work, and I find many have them have very good original idea. So, what is your creative process to develop an original idea? Because when we use references, we can do it by seeing references and practicing it. But when we have to generate our own idea, so by a prompt or a photograph or a briefing, what is your creative process, and how do you recommend new artists to develop creative process?
Okay. So for everyone, initially you can it's not about you need to have your own ideas or you need to have your original ideas. Initially, when you're learning, I'm not talking about now. When you're starting your career or when you're starting something, it's fine to copy others. I mean, when you copy for practicing, not for
Yes.
I mean displaying somewhere.
Yes, yes. Whenever
Yes,
you copy, you should copy it for a practice, and whenever you
yes,
post it on the social media, you should give this person due
yes,
credit.
yeah. So it's fine to copy others, but it's like a practice for you. You should learn something. So the only thing you're copying from others is you're practicing or learning something. But to get an original idea from here, okay, what I do is, okay, since I'm doing this 100-day challenge, I'll talk about that. It will be more appropriate when I talk about that. So what is that is, when I have this, when I'm doing this 100 days challenge, So I will think about the next day's prompt. Okay, when I next day's prompt. So it makes the first day this prompt name was Babu. It doesn't have
Yes.
any meaning in it actually. Actually, what this is BABO. It doesn't have any uh, meaning to it. So I was thinking a lot. Uh, um, so one point of time, if you keep thinking on that, in particular point of time, you'll get something. And you start doing a sketch. You start working on that, and then you will find it. And one more thing, what you can do is I'll just give a clear thing in that. So to create original ideas to your artworks I'll talk about this is a 100 days challenge. What you can do is to avoid copying other artists' works or to avoid getting inspiration from others. Give some time for the topic. If I get it prompt, you think about the title long time. Actually, you don't need to refer or something. You actually learn about the meaning of the prompt. Actually, you need to know about this prompt. Actually, you need to know the usage of the word. Actually, okay. When I talk about a box, it has a different context in it. A box in a room and a box in some other places has its own value in it. So you need to think, you need to keep that word or keep that prompt in different areas so that you'll be having more room or more choices to choose. So that's how your artwork can be unique and your artwork can be original. And instead of taking reference and doing a sketch, you sketch or you do a layout or a storyboard and create a storyboard roughly in your sketchbook. After doing that, try to redefine it. Try to do that. Try to uh, keep the illustration as simple, and after that you check for the reference. I mean, you will be once you're done with the layout, but you will not be done with the details, and you won't be. So for an example,
You can give
when I
example of one of your own prompt, and I will put
yes,
it that picture here in podcast, and you can tell from and you give reference of that.
okay. So I give this. We have this gunslinger, okay, which is a 16th day challenge. It,
Okay.
um, so what do you mean by gunslinger? Is the person who holds a gun and who goes for hunting or something like that. So everyone was thinking about shooting or going for a hunting or something like that. So my for one thing that kept me in mind is the gun. Okay, the person holding a gun. So yeah, a soldier will hold a gun.
Yes.
Yeah, people from a village, those are landlords or someone, I mean that they will hold a gun. So the gun is a keyword that comes in my mind, but it has its own context. It has its own value when it changes to people to people. So
Yes.
what I thought was I should give it a try with someone who is not familiar with a gun actually. So I'm not sure about your place, but in Chennai we have this Marina Beach, right? We used to play with those balloon shooting actually. So those people have a gun with them. I mean for
Okay.
shooting a balloon. So that thing kept in my mind. Suddenly the spark actually. So what I did was I did a rough sketch. Yes. Um, I wanted the person to be old. Okay. Because I told you it's going to be a typical guy who works in Marina Beach, which is in Chennai. So
Okay.
I wanted to have wear a lungi, the bunian, and a chain for him, and the trousers and the slippers. So I wanted to look like him. I kept the design for him. And what the next thing is, I started creating a environment to him, which is a beach or which is a beach, and he has his own the button holders, everything. So once I'm done with the I mean the one with once I did the layout, now I need to search for reference actually, because we can't. For example, I really don't know how the belt was worn over the lungi actually. Yes,
Okay.
because I know and so we need to have a reference. So I started searching for reference actually. I searched for a beach scene to add up in my artwork. I searched for a scene of a balloon that canvas, the balloon canvas to
Mm.
add up in my artwork. But the character is somehow created by me, so only the pose. Okay, I took a reference from Pinterest. So what you can do is, so once I'm done with that, at last, I came to, I was not aware that he is an old man. I wanted to draw an old man, but what I did was, why can't I connect with the previous prompt, which is a title called Spacey. I drew a grandma who is uh, cooking in moon actually. So what did I do is I just took a photograph of the old artwork, and
Mm.
I pasted that artwork in his pocket, and I mean this guy's pocket. So I connected these two artworks into a complete
Oh,
different series actually.
that's
So it
really
has
a great thought to
yes,
connect that word.
yes actually. But this thing, the Atlas, this thing has, I don't know how it comes, but it happened actually. Fortunately, it happens. So the one thing you need to keep in mind is, first, do your layouts. No, do not use the reference or something. Do your rough layouts. Once you are done with the layouts, you know what and all you need. After that, after doing the layout, you can start taking for a reference. But before doing the layout, if you're checking for a reference or if you're checking for ideas, what you'll do is you end up copying something.
You will get influenced
Yes,
by, and that you will think
yes,
that it's your own idea, but that get
yes.
influenced by.
Obviously, you're yes, yes. Maybe that's the thing. Actually, if you want your artwork to be original, create your own layout. It can't it doesn't need to be a perfect one actually. You just need to have your ideas in a paper. So just keep a rough layout, and you can start taking reference, so that your artwork will look original, your ideas will look original. The only thing you are using is the reference so that you can make your artwork proper actually. That's all. Yes.
That's a really great thought. What current artists do you follow from India and across the world also? Who are your inspiration, or who you think have a great piece of work and you look up to them?
Okay. Okay. Recently, very recently, or maybe I feel I consider himself as a teacher. Himself my teacher actually, who is Aaron Blaze.
Hmm.
He works for Disney. Yeah, I mean, so he got his own tutorials in YouTube. He sells his uh, courses and everything. And what made him? I mean, I was very connected to him. Why is it? Because he started his career as a traditional artist. Okay, yeah, he started his career as a traditional artist. Later, he got introduced into digital art and he started doing. And he always loves to paint bigger size. Okay, so even I love to do bigger size, actually, bigger canvas or everything.
Okay.
So even now, after doing even came into introduced into digital, he keep doing traditional artworks. So that made me to love his works. And the first Photoshop tutorial, the first Photoshop artwork that I did using his tutorial, actually.
Oh,
So maybe he's a big inspiration for me. And other two artists, Derek Laufman. Uh, his artworks are great, and Jake Parker is I'm following. I mean, his artworks are great, and other artist is Case from India, and the founder of 100 Days Challenge, 100 Days of Sketching Challenge. Other one is Sri Priyatham, who is a Hyderabad based artist, and
yes, I have
I
also
love
seen his
yes,
work, and he
yes,
have a
I
very
love it. Yes, I love his caricatures actually a lot. He got his own unique line was with it. That's great. That's a lot of things to be learned from.
So, as you have told about these artists, so other than these following these artists, do you read any book for self development or listen to any podcast or anything like that?
Okay. Um, okay. I'm not a book person. I, I feel. I mean, I'm not good. I'm not feeling good to say that, but I don't read books much. But I mean, I think every artist should learn, and I should create that habit. Maybe in future I'll be creating that habit. But one book I read, or one book I used for my tutorial is Mulin Mullik. He's from India, right? He's a famous watercolor artist
Yes,
from India.
yes, yes. I have seen
Yes,
his work,
yes,
and he has a very realistic touch in
yes,
watercolor.
yes. Yes. My in one certain point of time in my during my early stages of art career, I was very fond of watercolors actually. My favorite medium was watercolor at that time. So I followed Mudin Milik's style, like his techniques were unique and it was universal actually. Every watercolor artist can follow that actually. It was basic, but still we can create artworks. I mean, he is master in that. So the one art book which I followed was Mulin Mulik's watercolor art book. Other than that, I used to watch, I mean, listen to so many podcasts actually. Recently, I listened to Derek Laufman. Okay. He gave a podcast interview to Case recently. It was around
Oh,
2.5 hours podcast actually. I was listening
oh,
to it.
oh,
He was talking about he was talking more about his comic book, his art book, and the things behind the scenes. All those. It was very useful. And Jake Parker from from Case, and I love to see Aaron Blaze YouTube channel. Actually, I am not
oh,
YouTube channel. He is videos. He is around 50s actually in his 50s. He is a fatherly figure to everyone also from our age. So
yes.
but he's great actually. I love to see his work. Has got ton of experience with it in him. So I love to see his work and I love to see walking actually. It's great. He has his unique style. Whatever he draws an elephant, which is realism. When he draws an elephant uh, in a realism style, in a realism genre, it will still looks like Aaron Blaze actually. He has his unique style even in realism actually. Realism nothing but copy the same thing from real. But even when he does that, he has his own style. We can see Aaron Blaze in it. That's what I see in his artwork.
Yes. So, as you told that you teaches art also, or a
Yes.
fancy word that is now more common, art educator or
Yes.
instructor, that is
Yes.
more
Yes.
common now. So, for how many years are you teaching art to students, and what are your
Okay.
experience in teaching, and what are the experience different from doing your own work and teaching, and what do you learn from your student?
That's great. It's a great question actually. Okay. I was into teaching for almost 4 years now. I mean, in a institution. I started my work in an institution. It's been 4 years now, but I was teaching from a bachelor's system. Bachelor's system. I was teaching small kids in my plays and stuff, but I was not completely into that. But I on and off I'll be teaching class. I'll be taking class or something. So I was started my okay. It was very close when I completed my college and started entering into a job. Actually, it was very close. So it was very tough for me to transform from a student to a teacher initially. Okay, I was in the state of being a student, but I need to act as a teacher. That's the one thing that I need to learn a lot. But later, one thing love about teaching is you need to precise about what you're talking or what you're telling to your children. Okay,
Okay.
you can't we can't say uh, something to your like we can't talk with your children everything. Okay, you need to be very precise when you talk talk or when you teach about stuff. Even when you're teaching a small kids, you need to be very responsible when you're teaching something.
Mm.
You can't tell something like that, some word like just like that. And you need to be precise about if you need to when you're creating an artwork, you don't need to do much homework in that. You can create, you can do mistakes, it's completely fine. But when you're teaching someone, especially a smaller children, you need to do your homework. You need to be,
Yes, that's
you need to know
very important.
ex- yes, you need to know everything about what you're teaching. Okay, so that's a very, so that had made challenged me to learn a lot so that I can teach my children. I don't teach my children anything wrong. I mean, in art, I'm talking about art, right? So I need to. So there is a big learning thing for me when I teach. So it's been a learning experience. I don't tell it as a teaching. It is a learning uh, experience for me. And one more thing, before teaching kids, I was not into character design or cartoons or nothing else. I was into more of realism stuff and more
Okay.
of modern artworks. I was nothing to do with comics or cartoons or all those things. But when I enter into a school, when I need to teach children, what that made me to do is I should be coloring, I should be doing more colorful artwork so that it will be appealing for my children. So what I did, uh, subconsciously or consciously, I was thinking to make my children look at me. So what I did, I started doing cartoons. I started drawing cartoons in my classworks actually. I made them to do cartoons. I mean, which is Iron Man,
Hmm.
all those, all those.
Marvels and DC
So
characters.
yeah, instead of teaching some anatomy or some basic stuff, the first year was like that. The first year, I taught my children about anatomy, the basics, the line, the texture, the shapes, all those things. I clearly noticed that they hate art classes when I do that. Okay, so later, so later, so next year was different. Next year was different. I changed my program of work. I started implementing more of cartoons and more colorful stuff, which should be appealing for my children actually. So those things made me to see more cartoons, more artworks which are more colorful, which are not which are not in realism genre. So that made me to create artworks uh, for myself, which is a cartoon style. Which what I'm doing in 100 Days Challenge is not realism.
Yeah, in
Yes,
100
it
days
is.
challenge post also, I can see that you have very vibrant choice of color
Yes,
for your characters, and that's not the real color, but
yes,
it's more attractive than the real ones.
yes. This is because of my children actually. I wanted to please them with my colors later, which made me to do the stuff for myself actually. I was doing it for them, but later that made me to do it for myself. I should be very thankful for the teaching career, since this is very important thing for me actually. And I'm loving it actually. I'm really loving it with those colors and those vibrant character design. I started my thoughts on character designing and all those illustrations of comics. Actually, I'm traveling more. I'm changing my path towards illustrations, comics, and character design.
Okay.
So it has changing me personally. Yes.
Okay, so you take daily classes, or you have a course type of structure?
I'm working in school actually. Currently, we
Oh,
don't have classes. Maybe the classes will resume by June. So
okay.
okay. So other than that, I give guides to my friends or to the juniors and other people who are asking me. I do have some course. Yes, but
Okay.
I don't teach. I don't do much on teaching other than my school. But I do freelance now.
Yes, we have seen also that you have told about your freelancing. You do very much in freelancing field only.
Yes.
So could you, and I have also seen that there are many good artists out there that have started work from few year back and they are doing it, but they are not able to get the knowledge of how they can earn from their skill. And as you have done freelancing from a quite bit time, so could you give some tips to new young artists, that what mistakes have you done in freelancing or in a general that they can avoid, or what are the tips that you want to give?
Okay. The first thing is you need to display your artworks. Actually. You cannot stop it. You cannot expect people to come to you without anything. You need to show people that you're doing something. Actually, that's the first thing you need to do. Even I did the mistake. Actually, I was not posting any artworks on any social media, or I'm not displaying any artworks to my people. But I expect people to hire me, and that's completely, there is no point in that. Actually,
You
you
have to
need to
build a
set up your,
portfolio, you have to build
yes,
a.
yes, you need to create a proper portfolio where people can uh, find you helpful. Actually, you need to serve people. Actually, when you talk about freelancing, it's about serving people. I'm not talking about the money factor. You need to serve people. The people um, should come to you to get something back, right? So you show people that you're offering all these kind of works to them, so that people can get engaged with you. And engaging people is something you need to do. Actually, when you start, okay, when you're creating a thing, actually, when you're creating a startup, okay, we'll start by that. The first thing you need to do is you need to create a portfolio and display it. You need to start up with that. The second thing is you start it for free. Actually, you do it for free initially when you do stuff. What you do when you start doing things free for free, what you do is you're creating an clients and audience for you. Okay, we are giving something to them. So what you're doing is, if I'm doing artwork for free to my friend, what will happen is, but when tell them the first client which you did for free, is tell them to tell about yourself, tell about you to some others. Yes. And one more thing is I'm not sure about other artists. Even I'm not good. I'm not doing great at freelancing. I need to be frank with that. But one thing you need to keep in mind, that you don't need to charge much. Okay, even it's very hectic job or something. At the end of the day, it's an artwork. Okay, you love creating artwork. You love art. At the end of the day, you enjoy your work. Actually,
Yes.
so you don't need to worry about the money factor thing. But to grow a career, we need to have money, but it's fine. Okay, you don't keep those things into your art. It's fine to charge less amount. It's completely fine. Later, when people love your artworks, people will come to you. So initially it's fine. One example, one clear example I can tell you is, I got an artwork. I got a commission order from a client. Okay. Uh, Initially, I don't get any advance or something. I will not, that maybe that initially I was not doing that. I was doing that. I won't get any advance or something. So I created an artwork. Is a portrait, and I finished it. At the end of the time, the person was not there. Actually, I
Oh.
created. I spent almost a week to create the artwork. Uh, yeah, it is a portrait. Actually, we can't sell it to anyone with that. Okay, but I finished the portrait. So it was a bit loss for me for the material on those things. But one thing that convinced me is the one whole week was I was painting, actually. So I didn't lose anything. I still I didn't create my own ideas and other thing, but still I was able to paint. What you are doing something you love. So it's completely fine in freelance. And the one thing is the important thing in freelancing, or the one thing you need to know about is when you love your job, uh, you cannot go wrong, or you cannot make any mistakes. Actually, you won't consider those mistakes as a mistake itself. Those things are your experience you get. So that's the thing. It's fine to do free stuff for people in your early stage. Get your first build your show your portfolio, display your portfolio, have a good thing, and next create your audience by giving lots of free works, or be a serve people. Actually, first serve people so that you can create your audience, and later charge less. You need to charge very less so that people uh, won't be afraid to come to you, actually. And then you can create your own audience, and then they can encourage, they can come to you, they will come to you. Yes. Those are the things.
As you told me, the and that love your job is the best thing, because then you do not regret for anything that happens to you,
Yes.
and that's the
Yes.
best thing. So as you have done, as I have seen many artists, and so I have seen a great tendency that in the early stage of their art career only, and some artists let the social media overpower them, so they are more concentrated on social media numbers than their actual time on art. That's the really opposite case that an artist should do. For building a portfolio, he or should regularly post, but don't let the overpower your artistic mindset. So what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, this is quite the important thing, actually. What I'll tell you what I'm currently doing right now. So what I do, once I'm posting a lot, right? Uh, when you're posting something, or when you're showing artworks to people, it's natural that you expect people to comment on your pictures or comment on your artworks. The small uh, comments or appreciation is a lot to us, actually, each and every artist. So we have the tendency to check, okay, say for Instagram or Facebook or something. When you post your artworks, you have the tendency to check whether any people commented on that, or anyone appreciate your artworks, or anyone criticize your art. So it's quite natural to do that, but there is a limit, actually. You can't see the Instagram for 24 hours,
Yeah.
right? We can't, because at the end of time you need to create something to post, right? So what I do is, uh, I won't let Instagram overpower me, right? Or any social media to overpower me. I don't, because so what I do is, when I done with posting the picture, I I I uninstall Instagram from my phone
Okay.
so that I don't check the post, I don't check the notifications, actually, because I have the tendency to keep checking the phone, whether someone is commenting or someone is complimenting or my work or not. So one thing, you need to have the social life, I mean, social media and artwork balance as
Oh.
well. We need to have that, actually.
You have to come up
Unless
with your own strategies to tackle that.
yes, this is a strategy. Yes, yes. Because one sort of certain point of time in the early stage, I mean, all this thing, I was more into social. I mean, Instagram. I mean, every day I was doing Instagram after this, under this channel, where I need to post every day, and every day I'll be occupied with, if I can be occupied with the entire day for in Instagram. But I don't want to do. I don't want to do that because I have my other work to do. I need to create artworks. I need to think for myself and think for the artworks that I'm going to do next day. So the one small strategy is, I uninstall Instagram after posting that. Maybe if I need to, I will be reinstalling it after when I need to post the other one. So the one small strategy, and don't overpower any social media to your personal life or to work. Actually, there is a limit for that.
Yes, yes. So, before as we move forward, I would like to ask you that as we have started this podcast, behind the creator under umbrella of creative mindset in previous lockdown, as soon as the lockdown started. So what are your opinion on this podcast, and what do you suggest us to improve, and what are thought that how it will work in future according to you? You can suggest some improvement also.
Yes. So first, let me talk, thank you. Be thankful to you for creating this page or creating this thing. Okay. Uh, the one thing I love is having this podcast. Actually, you're not inviting big shots or big shots in art. You're creating a normal artist. You're yet to be recognized. Actually, so that's a great thing. Actually, it's motivating people to do more artworks. Actually, that's a great thing, and I would really appreciate that. And one more thing, I always have this in mind. We have a lot of channel for art tutorials, right?
Yes.
And we have lots of channel for it, but we don't have contents on history. Actually, history, art history. Actually, I think I have seen your post. You're doing a tremendous job in looking at history. So maybe if you ask it, uh, I would like you to do more concentrating more on that. Actually, thinking, looking to our history, actually, art history, so that people would we we need to know our origin, right? So that we will be moving at the right direction.
More about the art
So
history.
yes, yes. So if you know that, I think that will impact our artwork more. Actually, that will create a tremendous impact on our art. So that's why humble request. Actually, you can already you're doing that. Maybe you
Yes.
can upload
Yeah.
that.
Yes, we have started that on a Instagram post, and we are also
Yes,
thinking
yes,
to build a voiceover video on YouTube also, that
great, great.
telling art history and what techniques are used in that.
Yeah,
And we are already doing in name of
yes,
art
great.
bite, we post, and we are also thinking to do
Yes,
that in a video
I seen
format.
that. Actually, I seen that. Actually, you can like this. Actually, you're doing a great job by having this podcast with the artists. You can also call art historians. Actually,
Yes.
we can. I mean, you can create a set of guys. I mean, set of team where you can create. I mean, where you can critique other artists' artworks. One important thing that I've learned in my college days is we used to have a presentation every month in our class. What we do is my professor will be sitting in this middle, I mean, sitting in a corner. We will be displaying the artworks which we did throughout the month. And what we need to do is the first person who is presenting is he will be talking about his art, right? The
Okay.
second thing, what you do is the other classmates will come to the stage or come to the canvas and talk about the other, talk about the presented artworks. We will be criticizing him, or we will be criticizing his ideas, or we'll be talking about his ideas, thoughts, and everything. And we have only 7 students in our class, but the whole presentation will happen whole day. Actually, the entire presentation will be happening for the entire day. So at the end of the day, you will be learning a lot. Actually, your thinking towards art is will be completely different. So we can have those discussion type of
That's really
things
a
in
good
our.
idea and
Yes,
approach.
yes,
And
yes,
with the day we started the podcast, and one thing I was having in mind that clear that we want. I have also seen many tutorial channels, and that, but there was no channel is specifically Indian channel related to Indian that represent artists and educate and empower artists.
yes,
And we were having that in mind that we have to not focus on the numbers, we have to focus on the work. So we
yes,
are the we had for judging criteria for inviting a guest is the most that we never focus on any social media numbers on anything. We focus on our work, because if the artist is having a good experience in his medium, then only he can tell the audience in depth about his experience and how our audience can learn. Because number can be inflated and increased in social media by any means, so that's not the permanent. So that's
yes,
the whole motto of our podcast.
Great, actually. Uh, Maybe that thought has made so many. I mean, that thought has made you to invite so many artists like me. Actually, that's great. I mean, kudos to you, and thank you
Thanks.
so much.
So before we end our podcast, I would like to suggest young artists three tips from your side that they really can implement to level up their game in art. So any three suggestion that you think a young artist should follow and practice to re elevate or to elevate their skills.
Okay, 3 points actually. The first thing is do the basics, foundation, right? Whatever you do, you should have your foundation. Whoever it is, they all started with a line actually, right? Whatever big artwork, maybe Mona Lisa, maybe the artist has started with a line, right?
Yeah.
So we need to have those basics, actually, basic anatomy or sketches, basic things, which is traditional, right? You need to focus on that. No one can master. I mean, even I didn't master in that actually. Still, I need to do my foundation practice in every day, right? So practice that. Practice your foundation and then do your basics first. The second is don't limit yourself. That's the biggest mistake that I've ever made. Actually, I limit myself to traditional art. I didn't give any chance to the medium of digital, right? So you need to create artworks. Is a is a it's called effective communication. You need to come at the end of the day. You need to communicate your thoughts, whatever
Yes.
the medium it can, right? At the end, you can choose your favorite medium. That's all. But do not forcefully limit yourself. Do not be open to everything. Actually,
You should explore every medium and then you can
yes,
find out which is the best for you.
yes, yes. You can have hundreds of mediums, but you can have your favorites.
Yes.
Very few favorites. That's completely fine. But do not limit yourself. That's going to being I mean, being and for younger artists, it's very difficult when you limit yourself. Actually, in the future, maybe the other you wouldn't. For example, if I started digital medium 10 years back, I'll be I shouldn't. I will be. I would have been in a better place now, right?
Yes.
Since I start, so I by limiting myself, I limiting to things, I wasted some time actually. So those things, you don't limit yourself. Actually. And the final thing is have a portfolio ready. Actually, create your own portfolio. Even now, I don't have a proper portfolio. Because what why I'm saying is, uh, even I'm not having a portfolio. People don't take up seriously. Even, especially artists. Actually, artists, they engage themselves to create artwork. Uh, they focus mainly on creating artworks, but they are not focusing on creating a portfolio, keeping a portfolio for them. So keeping a portfolio is as important as creating other artworks. So 3 points: having keeping your basics good, uh, don't limit yourself, and create a portfolio. Those things.
Oh,
Yes.
that will really help our audience to level up their game. And I would like to thank you to come to our podcast
Thank you.
and give so much time to our audience to so that they can learn from you. And thank you for coming in behind the creators podcast.
Yes. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you so much, Atulya. And it's been a great pleasure talking to you. And all this, and it was a great experience talking to this podcast. Actually, it was like talking to myself. Actually, I was looking at myself. Actually, looking at a mirror and talking to myself. Why? Because so maybe after this podcast, it's like discussion about myself. Actually, so I'll be better tomorrow. Uh, I'll be better. Yes,
And,
that's great.
and I think our audience would have also learned many things from you, so they can comment down below and tell what they have learned. And I will link your all social media handles in the
Thank you.
description so they can reach out to you and ask you if anything if they have doubt. And I would thank you once again for coming to our
Thank you so
podcast.
much. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for the audience, actually. Thank you so much. Thank you.
if you're listening the podcast till now, I can surely tell that you really like the podcast. And if you like it, don't forget to like the podcast and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on all the audio streaming platform like Spotify and Apple Podcast. And you can also follow us on Instagram, and all the relevant links like Jaya Instagram handle and our all the handles will be in the description. Please check out and follow us. We will meet in another podcast with another special guest. Thank you for listening to our podcast.